Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Oh, it's beyond pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 173 of Double Feature Horror Show. And look, I put reviewing in the title, reviewing, so I won't get an angry comment from someone who came here to steal a movie. I mean, hey, look, we all love it when YouTube has the movie up in full. We love it. But I mean, if it's not there, would you leave an angry comment, TCG?
Oh, I always do, even if it is a full film that I find, I'll watch the film and then I'll morally grandstand as to how they can just steal the money. And these celebrities, to be fair, a few of these celebrities really need the money right now, especially given what's happening over in America at the moment. Have you
On
seen
topic.
those fires, man?
I tell you, I mean, if those fires were localized entirely in the studios that made this film, made the remake of this film, I would be cracking wise.
I was going to say, like, surely not this one. It's got to be the remake from the conversations we've had behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, this film is. Look, hello, chat. I'm going to foreground this. This episode might get a bit heavy. We're going to go into some very dark territory on a very dark film that is wonderfully made, and we're also going to talk about some absolute hissing serpents who commissioned a remake and made some very interesting changes. Very interesting changes.
Interesting.
So we'll have an
bad.
Yeah, S in the chat for serpents, I guess. But we'll lighten the mood. We're going to lighten the mood. It's not going to be super heavy, is it? We're gonna perk it up a bit, aren't we, TCG?
I hope so. No. Apparently, I'm going to do it myself because Horror Show's decided to drop out. So yeah, let's get some S's in the chat for those slippery serpents, those serpine serpents, those sneaky serpents. But yeah, so Horror Show and I were talking about this film behind the scenes, and she was talking about the new one, the remake, which came out, I can say last year now, because this is the first double feature horror show of 2025. Should mention that, shouldn't I? But yeah, she wasn't entirely happy with one or two of the things that happen in there. And hopefully, if we get her back, hopefully the wildfires. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought the wildfires just spread over to your neck of the woods.
I don't know. I mean, just you talk about some people in Hollywood I mean, they don't have that much power, do they, TCG? They can't shut down this stream.
Well.
Oh, look at this.
Time to kick some ass. Yes.
Lovely, Maverick. Lovely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I could have stayed out there and got myself a drink, TCG. You're doing fine.
No, thank you. But yeah, no, we as I mentioned, first double feature horror show of 2025.
Well, hey.
Hello.
You absolutely love to see it. Oh, you know what? This is also a member request.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a member request. In fact, Theremin Trees, it was you, I believe. You requested this. I don't know whether to thank you or ban you, my friend.
Hang on. No, we can. Surely we can thank them for this one. If they recommended the 2024 version, then that might be a conversation worth having.
Oh, it was definitely the original. I mean,
good.
Yes, it was. Okay. I mean, this let's foreground this. Okay, weirdly enough, for a horror channel, I don't get scared that much.
Okay.
This brutalized me.
Really?
Yeah, I struggled with this one. I really, really struggled.
Oh wow, wow. I didn't find it scary, but like I said to you before, I think for me this is one of those one and done films
Mm,
where it kind of it kind of crossed it didn't cross a line, but you know how I've always said like I won't do funny games again.
mm.
I watched that once and I was done. The things the things they did in that film, um, it was just that one scene in particular that just made me go, "Oh, I can't put myself through this again."
Of course, yeah.
I thought I was going to have that with this film, because full disclosure, I hadn't seen it, but before you suggested that we watch this, I caught a video from the Critical Drinker. It was literally just a video that was just lined up in the queue, and he was talking about this film. Well, he was talking about the 2024 version and then comparing it back to this one. And so I kind of had like an understanding as to what the overview of the film was, or the plot of the film was. And I was kind of like, yeah, I'm probably going to watch this once and like it, but it'd probably be a bit much for me. And it is a one and done for me, but not for the reasons that I originally thought it would be. But I'm sure we'll get through that. We'll get to that at some point.
We will, yeah. And by the way, Funny Games is the perfect comparison. I would say it's it somewhere between Funny Games, Eden Lake, and Kill List. So if you triangulate those films, you have this one. But we will get into it. We're going to have a nice light topic first. We're going to review some horror shorts, and then we will get into Speak No Evil. And I think we'll also have to talk a little bit about that Critical Drinker chap.
Okay. Oh God, you're not going to go off on him again, are you? Oh no, she's just going to go off on herself. She's just bounced again. What we will do, I can't bring them up, but I will shout out Mr. Gently Benevolent, who's been a member for 26 months. When's my next request proper tune? I'll ask her in just a second. But with £2. With Patrick Batman, thank you very much. The awkwardness in this would kill an Englishman.
True.
Oh my
That's why
God.
it hit me so hard.
So true. Yeah. Yes, hit her so hard it's knocked her out again. That is so true. That is absolutely true. And in fact, spoiler alert, it's pretty much the reason why I'd only watched this once. But I would score highly. I would absolutely score it highly. This was a good film. When Horrorshow, oh, there she is, she's back again. But yeah, we're gonna cover a couple of horror shorts before we get into this. We'll probably be about 20 minutes, you reckon?
How
many have we got?
I keep getting kicked because the mic keeps disconnecting, so I don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my hands off the desk. I'm not touching anything. Nothing.
It works better if you don't try to deep throat it.
The old deep double feature horror show ASMR.
Yeah, exactly.
I nearly went in and trolled, giving the old Blue Yeti the up close and personal.
Yeah. Devontae's in the chat. She loves the ASMR.
Mr. When's your next request? After the last few requests, Mr. Gently Benevolent, not a chance. Ooh. If anyone doesn't know, his first request was Plan 9 from Outer Space. We didn't recover. I made waifu do that one.
No, I've not my mic. There we go. Right.
All right. Okay. Hopefully we're all right now.
Hold on.
Okay. Well, folks. Oh,
there we go. I'm back.
Yeah.
It has a lot of
creep. Little bit of it. The Visit. The is that the M. Night Shyamalan? I'm not as sure on that one, but the Creep. Yes. Creep's in there.
Have I? I know I've. See, when I saw Leslie mention Creep, I instantly thought about the train.
Oh yeah. That's the old one that was on Netflix. It was found footage. It was really good. I loved
The
it.
Visit. Yeah. I remember that film. Oh my God, that was good.
Yeah, good times. I was trying to shout that one out to Harry and Connor on our Is M. Night Shyamalan based stream. They weren't having it. I nearly convinced them, but All right.
Well,
Well,
Harry's a bit of a gamer. I reckon he's probably played. What's that film? What's that game called? Granny's House. It's like
I
that.
don't know.
I think it's called Granny's House. You're a kid, I assume, and you're around Granny's house as you would,
Yeah.
and you have to go around collecting some items because I think you have to escape the house, but Granny's like trying to kill you. That's pretty much what The Visit is.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Crikey.
So if he's played that and he likes that, then he'd probably like The Visit.
I'll maybe recommend it to him. All right.
John Gorris says Hock to the mic. That'll work. Just don't try and set up. Apparently it didn't, John. Apparently it didn't. She's just gone off now to do a crypto scam. Well done. You've given her ideas now. You've given her ideas. She's deep throated that mic again, isn't she? I told her not to. I told her it wouldn't work. I think we're going to have a fun evening this evening. TCG teasing me with the ASMR. I am a tease. What can I say? Rug pulled. Oh, you're back.
What on earth is happening? I don't know what to do. All right. We're just going to get into this. I think this is probably going to keep happening this stream. We're just going to have to go with it. All right. So shall we move into the topic while my mic's still working? Should we go for that?
I think we should. While you're here, let's do it.
Look, it's all these visits to Swindon, you know. They've made me a total boomer. Right.
Yeah. No, you need to calm down because it's rock pool code for lesbian.
Classic.
Yes.
Classic. I love it. All right. Well, let's get into since we've just seen Patrick Batman, let's get into his recommendations. We're going to get some weird ads in this, by the way, because I'm too stingy. So enjoy your ads on the side. I don't get paid for them. But if you do want to make sure I get money, wow, you could go ahead and send a super chat like Patrick Batman already did, and many other fine chat members. You could do it right now. Test it works. Send your first super chat of the new year, etc. right here on Proper Horror Show. So smooth, so smooth. Also, the old the memberships are really the best thing because then you get the exclusive content, you get the early releases, all that good stuff. That's all the shilling. We've got a lot to do, but TCG, of course, your links are in the description.
Thank you very much. And just to answer as well, Murgoot isn't here tonight, unfortunately. He's been put on the naughty step for reasons that we won't go into.
Yeah. We can only say so much live, you know. They're already trying to censor me.
Yeah. And whatever Murgoot says in the chat as to why he's not here, it's a lie. He's lying. Okay? Yes. Don't believe him.
Yeah. So this was a week when I actually remembered to link the shorts. That's a very special one. Yeah. So I don't know which one you'd like to go for first. Maybe Moonstruck? Would that work for you?
I'm a gentleman. I'm happy for. I'll tell you now. I watched Moonstruck and OY this week. So yeah, if you want to start with Moonstruck, I'm happy to go there.
No worries, that's sweet. Yeah, I managed all four, but it was tight going. It was like it's all Little Horror Show basically. It's all that. If I don't get to stuff, if I can only cover a bit, it's Little Horror Show. I'm going to blame her. She can't fight back. So Moonstruck, basic premise, was really cool. Really cool. Your woman's woken up, her phone's blowing up, as they say, and it's weird messages. Look outside. It's so beautiful. Check the moon out. Instantly, this was intriguing. It turns out that looking at the moon is sending people bananas. You know, bananas. BANANAS. As I'm told.
I like it.
I slip in a quotation from her anytime I can. How did you find this one, TCG?
Yeah, it was really straightforward, wasn't it? I mean, very simple premise. It reminded me a little bit of, was it Bird Box? Is it Bird Box?
Very much so.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Look at the thing; it makes you crazy. Strong premise.
Exactly. Pretty much that. Yeah, I mean, I did like the. I've been watching. So I've been watching a lot of like emergency broadcast system style videos. So as soon as that went off, I was like, "Oh, I know what that sound is. That's the emergency broadcast system." Yeah, like this, it's like zombie survival stuff, and yeah, a bit of like ARG, not ARG, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, and it just it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't. I don't think it was bad.
The
But
payoff.
payoff was a bit. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
let's face it. I mean, in horror, your build up is always your strong bit.
Yeah.
There was always the worry that they teased with the daughter not opening her eyes. Ooh, what are we going to see?
Mm.
And so there is the worry when you see people opening their eyes, is it going to work? I'm going to say not so much. It's sort of what you'd think. I was wondering, is it just going to be bright, glowing eyes? It was. It looked a heck of a lot like The World's End.
Yeah, they did that thing as well where, you know, they sort of stand really still for a second, and then all of a sudden they just burst out roaring, and it's that sort of supernatural-esque sort of scream. There was that. Yeah, the suspense moments with the daughter, like, did she look at the moon? Didn't she look at the moon? We know she didn't look at the moon, but we're going to sort of drag it out to make it to get that those tension levels rising. But yeah, we know she didn't. Was she albino?
I wondered. I found the daughter very distracting. Sorry to say, I did wonder if she was sort of albino and black, maybe. Like, just it's these sort of things that shouldn't distract you in a film, but they did. Her acting was absolutely fine, but I was just a tiny bit distracted by wondering if she was.
Yeah, so was I. I was like, because I mean, you didn't really get to see. I mean, you didn't really get a. I don't think we got like a real proper good look at the dad, because you know you see him sort of standing in front of the window. Actually, the bit where the bit where she's coming down the stairs, like calling out to her husband, then she sort of turns round and is talking to her daughter who's at the top of the stairs, and then the dad just like instantly, or the husband, whatever, just walks straight past at speed. That bit was good. I did sort of like jump at that little bit.
It may have been a cheap shot, but gosh, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, like the fact that the daughter sort of screamed as well, sort of like added to that, which of course you would expect. So, yeah, I felt as though when I was watching this, I was thinking a lot about Bird Box, and comparing that, because in that film, not all of them like want to end themselves. When they look at it, they can go crazy as well, and it was very much, and they behave very much. In this, they behave very much the same as how they do in Bird Box. You know, you get hooked on the thing that you're looking at, and then you want to try and get other people to look at it as well, and that's basically what they were doing here.
It made for a more interesting vibe that they were pleasant about it and persuasive.
Yes and no. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, the husband was trying to be all like convincing, like polite and convincing, but then he would just like spring in, like turn violent. So I don't think it wasn't like a, no guys, it's totally cool, like legit, you know, come on, have a look, it's fine, don't worry about it, come on. Yeah, so what? My eyes are burning out of my head. It's fine. Do you hear me screaming? And then they go, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah. But for what it did with the premise, I'm going to say it's a winner. If we didn't know, Moonstruck is your linguistic origin for lunatic, if you're wondering.
Ooh, okay.
Where it's coming from. But yeah, so it's a bit of a mishmash of various horror elements. But I'm going to say short and sweet, looked really good, really nice design. You know, the color palette was good. But that actual payoff, a little bit limited. So, I mean, how would you feel about a B for this one?
I'd probably say like a C, preferably, personally.
I could go with that.
Sit somewhere in the. I'm happy for it to sit in the middle, but I was thinking along the lines of C.
I'll go for that on. I'm fine with it. Also, I was sort of quite happy with the choices, because a lot of them felt to me like they were in the B territory. And B is a bit lonely. This poor cat with hands. We haven't popped anything next to it in, 5 sessions we've done on this?
No, I don't. Well, I'm not surprised. I'll probably end up scratching it.
Oh. All right. Well, that is your Moonstruck. As you didn't get to watch it, do you mind if I quickly do Progeny?
Go for it.
All right. So Progeny is another hosted on Alter. Interesting vibes. You see a spooky surgical procedure at the top, and we are leaning into body horror with this one. In this one, chaps get pregnant and they get impregnated by odd humanoid creatures. They've got a little bit of that like budget Star Trek alien look to them. You know,
looks like Jay from The Inbetweeners.
Oh gosh, he does a bit. Yeah, so the men get pregnant. They host the offspring on their neck, and it turns out that these alien creatures have gained all the power. The religion in this version of the world actually has Jesus is one of these alien creatures, and there's a bit of a disquiet. You have to, if you are a host to these things, you gain all the prestige.
Yeah,
and our man is forced to be a host. He's sort of held down and forcefully made to be a host. It's quite grim, and you realise fairly soon that you are watching a massive pro-choice message, and you're like, oh, I see, yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing.
You make
it's not.
Imagine they got like a Ben Shapiro lookalike actor and did that to him.
They could have.
What are you going to do now, Ben?
Oh, I'd have loved to have seen like Daily Wire Bumpy Ben. That would have been great. Maybe we should shoot that together for it. I don't know. But if anyone wants to shoot it, well, hey, go ahead. But yeah, I mean, look, you work out very quickly what the messaging is, and unfortunately, it's similar messaging. Like, hey, here's a scenario where a policy would be really bad. It's kind of rare, but based on this really rare scenario, you'll join us, right? It may be totally unrepresentative, but we'll persuade you with this. So blunt messaging, basically.
But yeah, just to confirm my understanding, it's the aliens who are controlling everything now. Like the aliens rule Earth.
Yeah, the aliens are basically in charge in this scenario. It's like it's the equivalent of you have to sleep with the boss to get ahead. And now you slept with the boss, or the boss has forced himself on you, and now you're pregnant. What are you going to do? Oh no! And he's forced to try and take out this the parasite creature, and it's like, this is grim. Now that said, if the messaging doesn't annoy you, it's well put together. It's pretty well acted, and the effects are very good. This guy sells the pain very well. That helped.
I bet they put him on a tens machine.
Oh God! What method acting?
Yeah, that's it. I need to feel the pain, feel it.
I mean, it sold to me because it just looked like a cyst, and I don't know. TCG, do you ever watch a load of those cyst popping videos?
No, but my wife loves that sort of stuff.
I knew it. I might just jot that down for an unrelated project. Don't worry about that. All right, you haven't seen this. I don't want to take up too much time because we can't have much of convo on it. I'll just say I'm being really cruel and politically biased. Now it gets a C.
I'll tell you what. One thing I would say is
it's
quite interesting because one of the things that you said was that the aliens have got their own religion.
Oh yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a thing like where? I don't know if it's atheists or just people in general would say, you know, if we discovered aliens, if aliens visited Earth, that would like completely destroy religion, because it sort of knocks humanity off its perch as being the most important. I don't think we're that important in the grand scheme of it, but I've always questioned like how valid that argument is. Like, you know, if a little grey man, you know, hopped off a spaceship, people just gonna go, oh yeah, actually no, those books are rubbish. It's all lies. It's they're fibbing to me, you know.
It would clearly be a demon, and we got to take him out, bro. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it would hold, to be honest. I don't think it would hold. You know,
or
I mean, just like you discover another species on Earth, does that undo it? I don't think so. I don't see the logic there.
I don't know, but I mean, it's always I've always pondered that because one of the things that I've thought was, hang on a minute, well, what if aliens came, all right, and they're like, you know that Jesus guy, yeah, you know that guy that billions of people worship around the world, yeah, he's actually one of us, so you need to make some amendments to your holy scripture. Because we've actually got the correct text, by the way. Did you know?
Weirdly
How
enough,
many?
I think that's what this is getting at. Like
Yeah,
they
I feel
show
like
a church and the statue of Christ there has
yeah,
the weird alien face. It's like
yeah.
I think the implication is that
I
uh,
think that would be more likely.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Jesus walked on water. This is how he did it, and then they whip out some like sonic screwdriver, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, he fed the 5,000, using a portal gun.
Oh, like he went
J-
rogue or something.
yeah,
Just on his break, he was like, "I'm going to start something. I'm going to have a bit of fun." I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
That's a bit.
I
think
feel like that would be like if you had to like weigh up the
Mm.
two scenarios. I feel like I think was it Murgoot says the warping of religion. That would be I feel like that would be the more likely of the two. Do you know what I mean? Like
what they've tried to do in this is try and suggest, I think, that the religion has been warped.
definitely sounds like it from what you've said.
Yeah, it's like no, honestly, bros, it's Jesus would have been absolutely fine with third term. It's anyway. We won't get into that.
Okay.
Ham-fisted messaging, but pretty well acted and pretty well done in the effects department. But also too long. 27 minutes for a short. Pushing it, really pushing it.
Yeah, actually, no, sorry. GB's got a point. Actually, he could have been Jesus could have been a Federation member.
Ah, but we
Break it.
haven't reached. We haven't got. Oh, hey, 26 people. Do I see 26 likes? I want to see 26 likes. For you wonderful people who are here for the review of Speak No Evil, we will get to it. We are doing our topic section. We will move on to the film soon, just so you know. We have a topic section, we have a film. So we'll get onto that in 2 more shorts reviews, in case you're wondering. But while you're here, click the old like. Click the old like. Test if the super chats are working. You know how it goes. Let's move on now to OI, because you have seen that one. Would you like to describe this one for people?
Yeah. So a man walks into a bar. Sounds like I'm setting up a joke. And he's in a very happy mood. He's in a celebratory mood. I think he excuse me, he got engaged, and it's all happy Larrys. And he's chatting away to the guy, the bartender. And he looks over and he sees this guy sitting at the bar, and he's all bloody miserable. And he's like, oh, what's that guy's deal? And he's like, oh, he's been here for the last 3 days, opening, closing. He hasn't, he just goes there, sits at the bar, doesn't say a word. And the guy who's celebrating is like, nope, not having that. It's a good day today. So he goes over, gets him a whiskey, and the guy just downs it. And he's like, wait, hang on. If I buy you a drink to celebrate, you have to clink. And he's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm just not in a celebratory mood. And he's like, why? And he's like, oh, my life's over. It's been the last hard couple of months. And he's like, and the happy guy is like, I'm sure it can't be that bad. And he's like, no, it's really bad. And he's like, okay, well, and then they make a bet. He's like, okay, you tell me what your problem is, and if I can't fix it, I will buy you drinks for the rest of the week. All right? And he was like, oh, okay, fair enough. So it turns out that this man has had the first ever original idea. And he is the only person who is immune to it. And Barry, I think his name is, the guy who is celebrating, is like, hang on a minute, what are you talking about? And he's like, immune. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, people die? And he's like, well, the first victim was my wife. And then he tells the story about how he came downstairs, breakfast time in the morning, and his wife's sitting there, and he's looking for a pen because he wants to write this idea down. And he tells her that he ends up telling her this original idea, and it goes really like almost like angelic behind her. She's like completely like absorbed by this idea.
Yeah, it's a vertigo shot.
Yeah, vertigo
for
shot,
those in the business.
Vertigo shot, thank you. And she's like, oh, it's so simple, it's beautiful. And then her head pops. And they're like, what?
It's nicely done, isn't it?
Yeah. And then he talks about how he was arrested because the police suspected that he'd murdered her, and then he told the investigator the idea. His head popped. He was then taken by the CIA, who made him tell multiple test subjects this idea. Multiple heads popping, and this Barry guy's like, this is balls. This is rubbish. You're absolutely talking out of your backside. He's like, tell me the idea then. And the guy's like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, really? He's like, just tell me. Turns around to the bartender, sorry, Barry is, tell me I feel lucky. Turns around to the bartender. He's like, pops some earplugs on. And the bartender's like, yeah, I'm also feeling lucky as well. So he tells them the idea. Both of them get the vertigo effect. Barry says, it's an amazing idea. It's so simple. It's beautiful. But nothing happens to him. However, the bartender sort of takes a few steps back. His head pops. And of course, this guy who you're looking at now is over the moon. He's found someone else who's immune. And so, he's like going, he's like a million one things are going through his head. And he's saying like, we need to try and find out who else is immune, what makes people immune, what doesn't. And Barry, the celebrating guy, all of a sudden is like, why did you tell me this idea? What have you done? And then he grabs the shotgun from behind the bar and then
it was a lovely Chekhov's rifle moment.
Yeah. Yes.
It was so well done.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And I love
that rifles. I've always wondered if that shotgun's real. Mostly.
Yeah. It's it was quite well done, but I've got to say
it's like that. And interesting, you don't hear what this original idea is, but he explains like how ideas typically work is, it's like a mishmash of other ideas, you sort of sprinkle them in, and then you get a new idea. But this one is completely original. Nothing can link to this specific idea, and so the brain can't. He theorizes that the brain can't handle it. It goes into like some sort of infinite loop, trying to like put this idea somewhere to the point where it just goes, and then your head explodes.
Yeah, but a lot of people are referencing the Monty Python sketch, which I think this is extremely aware of.
Right.
With that bit about it's an idea that's combined with another idea. Like clearly theirs is, what about the Monty Python funniest joke in the world sketch turned into a horror? So they know what they're doing. And I'm going to say they do it really, really well. Like there's lots of humor in this.
So are we saying that original idea, ironically, wasn't an original idea?
Oh, yeah. But it's
brilliant.
I mean, it's the idea to just switch that. I mean, switch around, tell the same story in a horror context. Why not? Why not? It's like it's like that trend at the moment is still going on, which, by the way, TCG, you will remember, I predicted that we were going to get loads of more 80s remakes in horror form. I'm still waiting for Big to get horrified, but we had Happy Death Day, which was Groundhog Day. We had Freaky, which was Freaky Friday, and was so awful I could not finish it. It's rare I can't finish a film. But then there was Totally Killer, which is, I think, like Back to the Future. There's loads of them. They're still doing them. I called it.
Just ahead of the curve, didn't you?
Oh, I try. Obsessive about this topic. Anyway, I loved this. It was really funny. The timing was great. It didn't overstay its welcome. This would have been if this turned up in an anthology, this would have been beautiful. This would have been one of the strongest segments.
100%. I also recognise the guy who played the happy guy, Barry.
Yeah, I don't actually have a picture of him, I'm afraid, but yeah, do you want to tell people where you know him from?
Yeah, he's like, I think he's in like one scene of season. I think he's in 2 episodes, but one episode of Supernatural, season 1, episode 4, I believe it is. He plays a guy who witnessed a man being possessed by a demon, and he happened to be like the sole survivor, or like one of the few survivors of a plane crash. And he's in it for like 1 or 2 scenes. And I was like, I recognize that guy. I can't put my finger on it, and I just scrambled through the IMDb, and I was like, oh my god, it was Supernatural.
You've got that spidey sense for it.
It was tingling.
Yeah. How would you rate this one?
It was good. It was good.
Are we talking A? Are we talking S?
I'd probably go for a push for S. Because it was well paced. It was I think it was well written. It was well written. It was well paced. Great Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, didn't overstay its welcome. No. Very funny, nice character moment in that he's seen so many heads explode. He's not freaked out by it. Yeah, Barry is a normal reaction. Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that. And just mindful of people who actually want to hear us talk about Speak No Evil.
Of course.
Sorry, guys.
We did say 20 minutes, but it's been 34 minutes and 51 seconds.
We didn't get into it for a while. All right,
No.
I will say really quickly, really quickly. Excision was a short film that I thought I wasn't going to like. I knew it had been made into a full film, and it's a tale about this sort of dark, gothy, twisted lesbian daughter who actually, even though she's a total freaky misfit, has this dark way of wanting to do a good intention for her sister. There's a lot going on in it, and I think it was carried out very well. Some interesting shots, good performances, and I would want to see the full film of it. I think it's a very strong premise. I don't really want to say much more about it because I know you haven't seen it. I don't want to take up too much time, but in short, it had that sort of Ginger Snaps energy. I really liked it.
Cool.
It's a B.
Fair enough. I'm not going to argue it. Oh, look! Catboy's got company.
Wait, finally. Right, am I rigging that a bit? Yes. Some of the cinematography was not super great. Some of the elements feel a bit excessive. And it is a sort of swift turn into an unusual resolution that doesn't actually resolve a few things. Like you're wondering this... if you've seen it, you know what I mean when I say the procedure. If her procedure has worked,
okay,
you're not sure, and that's kind of what it hinges on. So I wasn't super clear on that, and for that reason, I'm popping it as a B. But my goodness, I'm going to watch the full film because I'm curious.
Are we going to cover it?
I would happily cover it. You know, we have a space at the end of set at the second to last in January, so maybe we could. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where it goes, and I think I'll have to have everyone watch the short before the full film, or maybe full film then the short.
Okay.
Before we go any further, there was a super chat a while ago from Mr. Gently Benevolent, deeply subversive individual, but very welcome around here, sending $5 dollary dues, saying for this Turley level shilling and a reminder that memberships get you the chance to get the exclusive PH and Waifu plushie set.
You seriously, you have to get them set up.
No.
You have to.
Oh, do you reckon I can abuse someone on Fiverr to make them?
Oh, of course you can. Those people do anything for money.
They will, you know.
Anything.
Should I play one of the songs I made that poor Ghanaian woman do?
Oh God, go on then, do it.
Will I be able to find it?
What a segue into the main topic. It'd be a great segue into the main topic.
I won't do it.
Oh no, I'm not. No, do it. That's what I'm saying. Do it.
Find it. Okay, right. We'll move it. I think it'll take me ages to find it. So we will move. We'll move into the actual subject of the the stream. Here we go, guys. Here we go. All right, I've talked for ages, TCG. Could you tell people what Speak No Evil is about? What's on the back of the DVD if people have not seen this film?
This is a movie about a family, a Danish family, who are on holiday, and they befriend a Dutch family whilst away. We get a bit of a time jump. We're back home, and they get a letter from this Dutch family, and they have a cottage out in the sticks, and they would very, very much like this Danish family to come and visit, basically. And they agree, and they go there, and initially everything is fine. The family are very, very welcoming and friendly, but as time goes on, their behaviors start to change somewhat. They start to get a little bit more pushy, a little bit more confrontational, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more dominant and assertive. Maybe they didn't make the right choice in accepting this invitation. What do you think?
Yeah, very good description. Yeah, things things escalate. They're sold a false premise, and they do, having a bit of a bad experience. We'll go into more details, by the way, guys, but just quickly, they do try and get away, but in a bit that is maybe patting itself on the back a bit too much with some foreshadowing. They return. They return and are then sort of middle class manners manipulated into staying. It's an extremely awkward exchange that they have. So having escaped, they where we go. They're sort of talked back into staying, and they complete their trip, and things go extremely downhill. Very much in a Funny Games situation.
Yeah.
All right. So there is a heck of a lot to say about this, and you've encapsulated this, folks. We are going to do full spoilers on this. Full spoilers. Waifu is correct. I was shaken up. In fairness, I think the way I watched it, TCG, is like I was watching this late at night. I had nothing else on. I was just like, I was 100% focused on this.
Okay, you were locked in, as the kids say these days.
I was locked in. I think it's also being a parent made it hit harder. You know.
Do you know what?
Just like a little pressure on that.
Yeah,
I know you've got me beat on that, but
well, but the thing is, it's such a good point. I honestly, I can't fathom how much of a difference it makes as a parent watching films like this, where there are children like legitimately at risk, not like this sort of like this false sort of horror. Like, oh my god, is that child in danger? It's like, that child's not in danger, but in these sorts of films, like legit, you don't know. I mean, that's why Funny Games puts me off so much, because the things they do to the kids. I mean, it's the that scene where they're making the parents choose which kid goes first. That for me was where I tapped out. I mean, I obviously watched the film, but I tapped out, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this again, because as a parent, man, like that stuff goes through your head, and it really sort of went through mine. I was thinking, right, which one would I? No, I wasn't picking it, but no, like, it's just an unbelievably impossible question to be asked. And if you don't do something at that point to try and, like, because the only thing you can really do is fight back, and the frustrations of that film resonated tenfold in this film, tenfold. Bjorn, who's on the screen now, who's the, I wouldn't even say protagonist, because the guy is just the weakest, most beta, just sniveling little wretch of a man.
Yeah.
Like, almost to the point where I felt like he deserved it, because he was so weak-willed. He was so broken. And he peed me off. No, there's no amount of measurement that you've got no idea how much he wound me up.
You do, yeah. I mean, I'm with you 100%. You spend the last bit of the film just basically screaming at him, fight back, do something. Yeah. This is why it comes out of the horror realm. Like in Terrifier, when the woman is hung upside down and cut in half, starting from the bottom, I wince a bit. I didn't lose any sleep over that, but that was telling me. Terrifier tells you, hi, I'm a horror film. I might mess with your expectations, but I'm most definitely a horror film. This was so uncomfortably not signaling being a horror film. Avoiding all the typical stuff. It's closer to The Shining in that way, and just avoiding the things you're expecting. When, I'm kind of thinking, are we just going to get to this thing? Basically, are they going to turn up in the house and instantly they're going to be, I don't know, cooked into pies or something? I was ready for that, and I just didn't get any of it. I just got relentlessly increasing tension.
Yes.
Just like increasingly believable scenarios. I mean, this one we've got on screen, before a more detailed
Oh.
breakdown, this thing of like you've been in that situation where you're just like it's so hard to actually. In this scene, what's happening is the Danish couple are they've had to go back and explain to the Dutch couple, the weird hosts, why they're leaving. And it's this thing of the confrontation is so awkward.
It is unbelievably awkward.
Like, oh, I'm going to have to, like, they've got a strong case, but like having to actually say, you guys are freaking weird.
Yeah.
You're horrible to your kid. This is not right. And you find yourself, backing down. It's like we know how hard it is to have that convo.
Hold on. All of that aside, right? Let's not forget the reason that prompted Bjorn's wife to tell her husband, right, we're going, right, is their daughter has a habit, right, of sleeping in their bed, parents' bed, right? Yeah. So she'll get up in the night and she'll go into their bed, right? And the mum just wakes up, or the mum's awake, or I can't remember exactly, but her daughter's not there. She goes to check on her daughter, and she's not in the bedroom.
Bottom, by the way.
Yeah. And so she sneaks into, or she creeps into their bedroom, and there you've got their daughter sleeping in between the two Dutch people. Not only that, good old Patrick, his name is, if I believe, is Starkers. Yeah, absolute butt naked.
Yeah, he's got both cheeks right out.
Yeah,
look at them.
And and surely, surely Bjorn knows about this at this point, right? I mean,
yeah, well, he'd have been told that. It would be weird if they didn't.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. I'm sure we'll get to that because there is a bit that Bjorn should have bloody said something and didn't, like the snivelling little Weasley is. But yeah, and when they're confronting Bjorn and his wife as to why they decided to leave early, he's coming up with all these like really weird excuses, like, oh, the bed's a bit small, and it was just we've had some really lovely days, but we would just like to go home now. And then he's really struggling, and then he turns around to his missus like, oh, can you help a little, honey?
That's exactly why I got this phrase.
Yeah,
it's like he is too much of the. Does he look like H Bomber guy to you?
Maybe it is
Bjorn guy.
But
right, we won't call him that.
His wife blatantly has a bigger set of balls, because then she sort of turns around and starts, giving more like legitimate reasons, like there's a scene where they take him to. Well, okay, she's a vegetarian, right? And she's like, ever since I've been here, all you have offered me is meat. That's all you've offered me. We went out to dinner. I wasn't happy at the fact that you left, that my daughter was left with some stranger. The way you two were sort of like acting in the bar, like making out and being all like, it was just a bit weird. You were playing your music too loud in the car. We were trying to tell you to stop playing that music. She's like, we're not comfortable. We want to go. And then they're still making excuses. She's like, yeah, but nothing tops the fact that you were sleeping in, you were in bed naked with my daughter, with my daughter next to you. And they're like, well, where were you? And then and then they're like, well, where were you? It doesn't matter.
They could have pushed back on that, but again, this whole film is about how they don't.
Can't exactly. They don't push back. It's like, it doesn't matter where I went. Oh, she was crying. Okay, all right. It's still not an excuse. We're still going. All right.
It's the boiled frog thing, and it's just that's what makes it so uncomfortable. Especially like when they come back and are persuaded you. I just had this sinking feeling of doom. Like, you had the chance to get out. But again, they had many chances, and they take none of them, which is why it hurts.
The first, it's interesting because the first. It's like they have no ability to disagree, like to ultimately disagree with people, because what prompts them to go to this place and to go there in the first place is they're having dinner at their house with a couple of friends, and it's the friends who convince them to go because they're not too sure. But then the friends convince them, oh, what's the worst that can happen? Oh yeah, I suppose. So like the first opportunity they had was just to not respond to the letter, or just to not go. Yeah, that's a good point as well, Patrick, as well. Yeah, when Patrick. Yeah,
let's get that up. Yes, this is another one of those massive red flags that they're just sort of, hang on, what?
Yeah.
Again, but by this point, they have let. I think the whole taking their daughter into the bed is clearly the point where they should have been absolute no, we are going,
Yeah.
we are going. It's
Uh-huh.
weird. So after that, the fact that he lies about being a doctor.
Yeah, they find out
Yeah.
after, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just casually mentions it the next day.
Yeah.
And by the way, the fact that he doesn't have a job is extremely relevant. Now, again, guys, it's a little hard to know how to approach this. Something I really want to get across is how just cowardly and sneaky the American remake is. They explain very nicely in the American remake how this guy can't have a job, and they show him forcing the equivalent of Bjorn and woman character. I never remember character names, guys. Come on, what's her name? Louise. Is it?
I think you're right. Yeah,
Louise. So Bjorn and Louise, their version, they show that the villains in the American force them to do a bank transfer, which is admittedly kind of stupid because the bank would check up on that. That's an obvious lead. The explanation for how he doesn't need a job in this is implied and deeply, deeply horrific, and not something a Hollywood studio would go into. But we will go into that. I'm just not sure when. Patrick, thank you very much for £5. That is a great observation. There are many observations about this film. I'm going to try and draw out for you some of the more subtle things. But I also want to, just before we go any further, sorry, TCG, I meant to say this earlier. I realised that this comparison, the original and the remake, has been covered quite recently on the Decameron Film Festival by an Italian guest. I'm afraid I forget his name. I listened to a bit of it, but I didn't want to end up stealing his takes. So forgive me. But from what I heard, it was interesting. It was appealing. He had good observations. So I'd recommend people look up the Decameron Film Festival and their coverage of this film. I just don't want it to seem like I'm stealing, because it's purely a coincidence. I had this film requested before I saw that on the Decameron. So there we go. And I'll reiterate my thanks to Patrick. Very good of you to support the channel with £5.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Can we go back to something at the beginning before we start to hate Bjorn?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. At this point, we don't know what we're getting in the film. And I liked Bjorn at this point. We see they're chilling on holiday. He's kind of dissatisfied. There's this really cool contrast between him and his wife, if you notice, where she's always in the phone and he's yearning to connect, right? Okay. So when she's looking at the phone, he's like when there's the opera performance, she's recording it. He's giving it the serious stare. He's looking into the woods. He's looking into the stars. You get this impression of a guy who's yearning for something more, and I think yearning for authenticity and nature and connection.
Well, he outright says it in the film. That he just wants to sort of disconnect from technology, and
I was loving that stuff, and they communicated that before he even said it. And there's this beautiful bit, guys. This is a great film. This is Bjorn looking into nature, right? Looking into the trees. It's sharp, it's crisp. He's kind of like the I'm so embarrassed not knowing the name of it, but you guys know the painting. The guy on the cliff looking out. You know the one. You only see him from the back. You know the one.
Yearning and Bjorning.
Yeah. Yearning and gosh,
yearning and Bjorning.
Right. So this is Bjorn in nature. This is Bjorn in his flat, looking in the window. Look at that. When he's in nature, it's clear and crisp. When he's in his flat, his reflection is distorted. He can't see himself. He's not his true self. Beautiful shot. Yes, I think maybe The Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog. That could be the name of the painting. I might see if I can have a quick look for that. So I love these details. I thought this was great filmmaking. This was just telling you, he's just trying to have that authenticity. He feels constricted, where his wife is much more conventional. He is desperate to be part of the moment and sort of get out of the BS.
Yeah.
I like this, Bjorn.
Yeah. 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 Again, it's just what not even what he becomes. He always is the same Bjorn. And yeah, you could admire that. You could appreciate or like that kind of person in a civilized society. But ultimately, this is a guy who, even though he yearns for sort of like nature and the real world, if you will, and one away from technology, is a guy who clearly couldn't survive in it.
No,
because he's just not equipped. You know, it's almost like any sort of masculinity, like those masculine traits, have almost like been bred out of him. You know,
totally.
It's almost like he wants to sort of cosplay as a free spirit and a guy who lives among the flora and fauna. He's just, it's something he desires, but it's something that he could never achieve, and ultimately it's proven by the end of the film.
Yeah,
there's nothing instinctual, I'd say. The things that you would instinctively want to do in situations that he is put in, he's almost been too. It's almost like the society that he's in, the civilization that he's in, has just like ground that all out of him.
Oh, I'm so glad
he's too civilized. Yeah, he's too civilized.
I'm so glad you said that. That is exactly what's going on. Like, you're very much in his headspace in this early bit, and I think you're talking about him wanting the fresh start. This transition, when they get to the Dutch house, is you go from a shot on the ferry again, Bjorn looking out into the ocean. Yeah, that's Danish. That's how you sound, guys. Sorry to break it to you, Danes. He's looking out into the ocean. Then you see the shot. Look at the chaos of the waves, right? But then the chaos fades, and is it like the chaos fading into the calm of the Dutch house in the woods? That back to nature life you talked about, or is it like a baptism? Is it like a washing away the city, and now afresh we're at the Dutch? This is how he imagines it, right?
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not what he wants, and he just, as you say, he's not equipped.
Yeah.
He has these things that, I mean, I applauded this stuff when he's talking about, I think actually Patrick leads up about when you get the technology, you give up these abilities, right?
True.
Yeah. Really? And Patrick's like, yeah. I totally go with that. I just wish to chuck it all away,
Yeah, it's funny, but it is definitely true though. It is absolutely true. Like, you and I are old enough to remember the days before mobile phones, or like when mobile phones were still in their infancy, and you couldn't really, store that many telephone numbers. Like, how many numbers did you memorize off the top of your head? Yeah, exactly. You used to memorize all of them. Like when I bit of TCG lore, but when I was about 16 years old, sorry, I used to work with my old man, right? And part of the job was I'd have to take like certain like registration numbers, chassis numbers, things like that, all right? And I used to be able to memorize like chassis numbers, like the registration numbers. I at one point I could tell you the registration numbers of all of the vehicles that he had working on, the chassis numbers that went with them, and things like that. I was off the top of my head. Nowadays, nah. Nah.
Oh yeah, I don't remember any numbers apart from myself.
Yeah.
And my parents' home number.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed in 30
that's the same. It's the same for my stepdad as well. He's at the same telephone number for about 25 years.
That'll do.
Longer, actually. Longer.
It's I mean, guys, you can think of anything. You pick up a bit of technology to make something easier, and you stop being able to do it. And if the tech goes down, you can't do it. How about all the growing and preserving food? How about that? Something that was absolutely basic to your grandparents. Where I live, many houses still have pigsties, right? Pigsties
Okay.
at the bottom of the garden. The people who lived there, probably only 60 years ago, kept a pig in the garden,
Yeah.
and they might have killed it themselves. They might have had a local slaughterman come around and do it. That tends to be how they do it. But they'd have fed the pig scraps, fed it up. The slaughterman would have taken care of it, and they'd have decent chance they'd butcher it themselves. But if they had chickens in the back, they'd have probably dispatched the chickens themselves and prepared them. Like, this was all extremely common skills. People can't do it, So this point is completely right. But there is, of course, a second meaning to this, because this isn't just about how Bjorn desperately wants to get back to nature. Also, based Mima grinding dried herbs. Very cool indeed.
Nice.
Yeah, that bit where he says, where is it? I have dinner with people I don't like.
Yeah.
I've got this. Patrick just looks at him with absolute contempt, like, you worm.
Yes. Actually, yes. Someone said that in the chat earlier. I think it might have been. Was it Dr. Prepper?
Yeah. Maybe. What is it? Patrick?
Patrick. It was Patrick Batman. Yeah.
It's there is one meaning to this, which is about Bjorn. It will take a risk because he wishes he could have something, but ultimately he feels constrained. But there is a second meaning to statements like that, which I think I don't know. We're an hour into the stream. I don't know. Should we sort of get into the reading of the film? What's going on behind the curtain?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, carry on with your idea on this, if you want.
Okay.
I've got all the time in the world.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, just I liked these observations. They're very true. They're very based. Literally, yeah. You feel constrained. The guy saying, "I just want to scream." There's a bit where they go out to a pit to just scream and let it all loose, and it's a really good moment. What did you think of this scene?
I felt like it was foreshadowing, because I'm pretty sure it's the same pit that they're at the end of the film.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. You're getting a lot of. There's a lot of callbacks and sort of reference. It's like just sort of like cheap lines. Like, what's the worst that could happen if you go to these like random strangers for a weekend?
Yeah. All right. There are. Look, I'm going to rate this film extremely highly, but I'm also not going to pretend that there aren't some absolute clunkers in there. By the way, Patrick Batman has got ahead of me. You guys know me too well. Yes, I fully believe that this giant rectangle here in the sand is a reference to 2001. In fact, the screen cap I'm showing you right now is called SNE 17 2001.
Right, do you know what, I'm going to look up the trivia.
It's got to be.
Oh my god, it's not working.
Now let's say if they come out to screen, now we will see this place twice. How does the monolith in Kubrick's 2001 does a lot, but one of the things it does is try and impart a message. It tries to train you. It's basically saying you need to learn something here. Like, this is a stage of evolution.
Okay.
And in one way, the story does evolve massively from here, but in another way, that monolith is telling you, the audience, you need to learn something from what I'm showing you.
Right.
Actually, before we get deeper into the reading, because I think we can go a bit stronger. We can carry on a bit before I start just breaking down symbolism, if that's cool. Because shall we get some of the flaws out of here?
Yeah.
We've got some of the.
It's your show, Chloe. This is your show. You tell me what you want to do, and we'll do what you want to do.
Oh, don't be Bjorn.
I was seeing if you'd spot that.
All right, so you got some of the lines. How about the from the very start when when Patrick is complimenting him for going back to find his daughter's rabbit, and he says, "Oh, that's so heroic." Were you like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
business we call this foreshadowing"?
Yeah. He was blatantly trying to butter up his ego, though, wasn't he? Because the guy, because Bjorn sort of dismiss it, laugh off, and he was like, "No, I'm serious. You went back and looked for the. I can't even do a Dutch accent, but yeah, you look for the rabbit."
Yeah.
Well done. You found a toy stuffed animal. Well done. You're such a bloody hero. What a guy.
Yeah, like it's obvious flattery, but it is also it's very heavy foreshadowing. You know? I'm also, while we're here, if Harrion were here, I think he would also have quite a lot to say about Abel.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to talk about Abel, so that Patrick and other character name Karin. So the Dutch couple, they have a boy called Abel with them. Abel doesn't say much, and they say that's because Abel has a congenital condition that means he doesn't have a developed tongue. Abel is a very surly, sullen lad who we are told by Patrick and Karin is really, really keen that they come. Really, really keen to see, oh gosh, what's her name? Agnes,
yeah.
Really keen. This is something we never see Abel actually show us.
Yeah.
So already we're on edge about that. That's good. And obviously it's a sort of guilt angle. It's like the pity for, hey, we've got a disabled kid. Come on. Like, it's a manipulation tactic, right?
Yeah.
Also, the name Abel should get you thinking biblically here. Already been warning. Okay. But we sort of have to talk about the scheme here. Actually, TCG, I'm talking for ages. Do you want to tell people what Bjorn discovers is actually going on?
So, one night, Bjorn sort of sneaks out of the home, and he finds it's like a shed, and inside the shed is like luggage and photos of other that belong to other families. Lots and lots of other photos, and as Bjorn examines the photos, he starts to notice a bit of a pattern. He sees that that Patrick and Karin are cuddled, like sort of like taking a picture with these other families. But then the kids for some reason are changing. So you've got Patrick and Karin will have a boy in one picture, and then they'll have a girl in the next picture. But if you look at the picture before, the girl was standing next to the other family, and now they're standing with Patrick. But this is a different family with a different child. And then he looks at the next picture, and it's happened again. It's a different child. It's the same child with the other parents in the previous picture, but they're now with Patrick and Karin. But what's going on? Like, oh my God, penny drops. These people might be serial killers. And they're taking people's children. And then he does find a picture of Abel with with his parents and Patrick and Karin. And his is the last picture.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you can work out what's going on. Yeah.
And then moments after he finds this, sorry, I'm going to spoil it now because I think it's important. It's really important. It's really important. Moments after he finds, goes to the shed, he goes into this other room. He goes into this other sort of area where there's like a little pool, which foreshadowing you get told about at the beginning when they first get to the cottage, and who should be floating face down in there but Abel. Now it's Bjorn's turn now to be like, we getting the hell out of here. But he never tells his wife what's happening. Yes. Never.
He really, really should have.
He dropped the ball hard. Yeah, huge.
You don't have to say the full details, but you've got to tell her we have to get away.
We got it. Yeah.
You tell them.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the moment to stop him.
No.
But the problem, I mean, beyond that, things get really grim. But there's a thing with Abel. Now I'm going to show you. There's a moment Abel comes up. Guys, if you don't want to see something gory, look away for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Abel comes up and shows, basically, his tongue doesn't look malformed. It looks like it is a wound.
Mm.
So I'm showing that on screen now. I am now going to move off and show something else. I'll show Abel being roughly handled in a park.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the problem is, if Harrion were here, he would probably point out that Abel actually has numerous opportunities to tell Agnes.
Yep.
Or to tell the parents to pass Agnes a note. They're left alone multiple times. There's like anything you could do a heck of a lot to communicate that you're in danger and you want to go free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the only warning he gives Bjorn is that bit where he opens his mouth and shows off his tongue. Yeah. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking to myself, like, could it have just been a language barrier with Abel? But you do hear him speak in this film. He says, I think, sorry, doesn't he? He says sorry, so he can speak English, presumably, or he might have picked up enough of it. And yeah, okay, he's
with her.
Yeah, like he's missing half a tongue, but yeah, he's missing half a tongue, but he can still talk, and he could have potentially done it, but then, like, you're a child, you're terrified. I kind of want to, like, put some benefit of the doubt there. Because as far as he's concerned, like, he doesn't know what will happen. Is he confident? I'm not being funny, but is he confident that Bjorn's going to be the guy to save him? I don't think so. And Patrick makes a great point as well. Like, Bjorn doesn't even try and, like, rescue Abel. He doesn't check to see if he's alive. I mean, quite clearly he's not, but he doesn't pull him out. He leaves him face down in that pool, floating, which I think is just, like, to me, that's just crazy. Like, there's nobody around at that point, so I think he's got time on his hands to check for vitals for that, on that boy. Even it would make sense not to bring it to Patrick and Karen's attention. If he hadn't been in the shed first, then then I would have been even more surprised if he didn't go to them first, because presumably he would have still thought they were his parents. So. But yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, the fact that he didn't even go and check on the kid, even I was like, what are you doing? Like, check on him. Like, you don't know how long he's been in there. He might have just, for all we know, for all he knows, he could have just slipped unconscious now. There might still be time to save him, but he doesn't even try. It's which again is almost like a foreshadowing for later on, because he doesn't really try.
I mean, this is a sort of thing where Abel, what happens with the kids in this works really, really well for the allegory. But in the actual plot, there's a bit of an issue here. So it's a slight thing. The other thing, they go and recruit families abroad, right? How are they traveling with these kids who've got passports in different names?
I mean, fake IDs can be done. It's possible.
I suppose it depends how you interpret exactly what the role of.
That might be Muhajid's domain. He might be the guy who can get them. We haven't even talked about Muhajid yet.
Well, I feel if we're going to talk Muhajid, and I think people are wanting us to, Patrick and others, Muhajid for me is sort of the breaking point between the remake, this original, and some of the commentary around it.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this is a bit where it gets very dark, folks, and very scary if you live under a Starmer government. people have gone to jail for worse. So
there's a lot going on around that. Yeah, film analysis. It's got nothing to do with current political events. Jesus.
Right. We've talked repeatedly about how the bar gets pushed, how the barriers are worked on, how more and more liberties are taken. And this is from the very start, as the critical drinker points out very well in his review, the very first thing Patrick does is go up to Bjorn and ask to take the chair, which he doesn't really need to, but clearly, like, that's Agnes's chair. He could say, no, my daughter's got it, but he gives away. At every single point, the line is crossed, and Bjorn and Louise do not hold the line, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a really key point.
Absolutely.
I think the second night, they're going out to the restaurant. That is the plan. There's this great restaurant we're going to go to. And they are told last minute, last second, that actually the kids aren't coming with them. The adults are going out alone, and they've got a babysitter. The babysitter is this dude called Muhajid. He's an Asian dude. In the context of Holland, he would most likely be Moroccan, but I don't know. He doesn't look like that to me. Looks more South Asian to me. This is one of those moments where I thought the film was actually showing some huge guts. Because what is happening here is a very direct, I suppose you could say, dog whistle. The question here to the audience is, are you going to acknowledge that you are not comfortable leaving your kid with a Southeast Asian guy? I'll say Pakistani for my context here, but we don't really know. He's got an Arabic name, okay? This is the bit where your liberal assumptions are put on the line. You have to now ask yourself, really, what difference does it make? Are you going to say, what difference does it make? The Dutch people seem fine. I mean, they've been pushing our buttons all the way, but does it make any difference that the babysitter isn't like a young woman? You know, young Dutch woman.
Are you asking me?
Well, yeah.
Are you just being rhetorical?
Well, it's a rhetorical look. It's a question to the audience, because I'll just put it up there. I don't want you to do anything that gets you in trouble with HR. But the thing is, in the context of what we know, and remember, this film was made 2022. The fact that the grooming gang conversation is happening right now is purely incidental, right?
Yeah,
it's a total fluke.
Hang on. What I'll say is the whole grooming gang conversation was happening even before this film came out.
Oh yeah, of course. It's
a lot of the stuff that Elon Musk is talking about on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. This is stuff that's been out in the public space for years now.
Oh, totally.
And do you know what I mean? So it doesn't. It's just not surprising, really. But yeah, I mean, besides that, I've got absolutely no qualms to say. If I was in this situation right now, right, this specific scenario, Patrick and Karen are like, yeah, no, Muhajid's a nice guy. You know, we haven't told you. You know, we're just gonna. I'll take the kid. I'm taking my kid. It's like, I don't care that you trust him. That's fine. That's fine. This is my child. I'm not leaving him with a stranger or her with a stranger at all. So, yeah, the kids coming with us. Like, and this is the thing. Like, you know, he could. Well, obviously, he's not. As the film just goes on to show. But it's just, again, just Bjorn's weakness. Like, you'd expect him. It's almost like Louise looks at Bjorn at this moment for support. Like,
yes, like, back me
you're
up.
You're going to say something. And he's I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, it's fine. It's like
Bjorn debated. Well, he doesn't want to be racist, TCG. He doesn't want to be racist.
No, I know. But the point is, like, they really, they know Muhajid about as well as they know Patrick and Karen. All right, these are people that they met on holiday, and as they Bjorn loser,
amazing joke.
You know, as they go on in the film, they find out that the things that they have learned about these two aren't even true. Like, this guy's a doctor. No, he ain't. Yeah. You know, this guy's
did they
lovely.
Know that at this point?
No, they still thought he was a doctor.
Yeah.
You know, even when they said, "Oh, we're going to take you to this lovely restaurant," it was some dive roadhouse.
Total dive roadhouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a dividing line, right? Are you going to be a good liberal and say, "Hey, look, I judge everyone individually"? It's like, or are you going to say, actually, based on my knowledge of the world, my knowledge of current events, things I've seen, am I going to make a judgment? Am I going to make a discrimination? If you want to make this a bit more academic, you can look at Thomas Sowell's 2018 book Disparities and Discrimination, where he distinguishes between two types of prejudice, one which is just uninformed and one which is very informed, i.e. if I'm going to take a gamble based on what I know about the world of what I think is a most likely outcome. Basically, will I walk through a area I know to be dodgy, or will I get a taxi to be safe?
Yeah.
You're using informed judgment. And in this case, this film is putting Mujahid here as a huge red flag that a lot of people in the audience know what the risk is here. There is an extra risk because of who Mujahid is. But Bjorn and Louise can't accept it.
Yeah, it's a very on the nose thing they do in this film.
Yeah. Now let's also say, if they, let's puss out a bit here, TCG. If Mujahid was someone they actually had known for a decade, they'd probably be a bit chill with it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, again, like if this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, because I understand what you're saying, but I think it could just be boiled down to just what does your gut tell you. It doesn't, obviously I know it's very on the nose here, but it's what does your gut tell you. And if something don't feel right, like, you bloody hell, do something, or don't even, don't do something. If don't walk down that dark, dimly lit street at night that has a high stab record on your own. Don't leave your kid with some random stranger who you've only just found, you've only just been introduced to 2 seconds ago. These are things that instinctually not to be right.
True. I mean,
so
like, if you've got 2 seconds to judge, if your babysitter is like a 16-year-old Dutch girl, really well put together, looking absolutely darling, cool. If it's some 40-year-old looking Southeast Asian Muslim, guy is called Mujahid, he doesn't speak any English.
Yes, it is.
What
I get
in the world.
Yeah.
Heck no. No, sorry. Yeah, I'm discriminating. Yeah.
But to be fair, I don't think. But to be fair, I'm just going to say he doesn't have to be a 40-year-old Southeastern Asian person. He could just, if it was, I wouldn't look. If it would be weird for me, right? A guy who's nearly 40. If I was babysitting at 40, unless these kids are like my nieces, nephews, or it's gonna. Look at me.
Like TC, like maybe
that's what I'm saying. It's a gut instinct thing. I know.
If it were you, it would be.
Yeah.
You've got a few marks there. You've got dude.
Yeah.
And you've got like 40 or whatever. Those are instantly like, oh, that's a little weird.
It's a bit weird. Yeah.
If you could be an 18-year-old girl and like, but if you're looking like a druggie,
yeah,
you'd be like, no.
Exactly. Yeah.
You go off the information you're presented with. Now,
exactly. Yeah.
Now, this is a point where the Danish film is absolutely based, because we are going to the territory where your gut instinct about Mujahid is absolutely correct. Because in the end, you find out that Mujahid is at the end, and you are left with one of the most haunting film images in horror that I have ever seen. This isn't graphically violent, but it is upsetting.
They check off gun the scissors.
Well, they do. You know what happened to Abel. You know what's going to happen to Agnes. But this last image you see is of Mujahid carrying off their young blonde daughter,
whose tongue has been cut out as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, given the conversations that have been happening around, like, they've inflamed in the last week, but the conversations about the grooming gangs have been going on for ages. This image is not accidental. I looked it up. Denmark is having the same problems that we had. Sweden is having some of the same problems with this exact demographic, this exact problem. And the Danish writer absolutely knew this. Christian Tadfrup knew this, and he is, for me, this is part of what the film is talking about. It is about how your government, who for me are represented by Patrick and Karen, are selling you out, weakening you, depriving you of power, emasculating you, and basically your country is sold out to dangers as represented and I'm personified. I'm looking for a better word. There are numerous ones, but the main example here is Mujahid here taking your daughter off, which has happened in 50 towns in the UK that we know of, right? This film, this is what the film is about, and I will go into more detail on some of the symbolism. But for the moment, given that we know this film is hugely about the grooming gangs, right?
You think?
It's not, it's not just that, but that's the sort of, that's the main example they're using of the danger of you being sold out by those in power, in my interpretation. Now, this is where I think we should talk a bit about the remake, and maybe a little bit about the Critical Drinker.
Okay.
Because the remake has a Mujahid as well, but he's a good guy. He's just a friendly babysitter, you racist.
Oh,
what you
really?
Yeah, he's just a nice guy. What, you prejudiced, you disgusting bigot. How dare you know, in the 2024 American remake, sadly written by a director I respected quite a lot, James Watkins, produced by Jason, let me check my notes, Bloom of Blumhouse. In that one, the grooming angle is gone. Mujid, he's just Mujid, not Muhajid in the American one.
Oh, Mujid, okay.
He's just a nice guy. He's just a nice chap. Actually, it's now a random white guy called Chris who was running the Roadhouse. He's in on it.
Right, okay.
The American one absolutely bottles it. Not just in like talking about an actual very, very serious issue in Britain and all of Europe. It removes that completely. And as you know from watching the Critical Drinkers video, they even changed the ending.
Yeah, they do massively.
But I'm just going to note that Critical Drinker, in judging the differences between the films, seemed to have missed this one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He seemed to have dodged it. Like the message of, according to the Critical Drinker, who did a nice video only a week ago, where he drew some nice Soviet soldiers out for praise. You know, we want to talk about some war heroes. He went and highlighted, I think it was 3 examples from Stalin's Soviet forces. What a cool guy. He said that the thing about the remake and the original is it's all about men being emasculated and losing the will to power. Very true. Very true. But he stopped it there. And he left out this pretty critical, if you excuse the pun, piece of the pie. You know?
Okay. I mean, don't know why.
If I had 2.1 million subscribers on YouTube, I might play it a bit safe myself and just keep it to, it's all about, men should be masculine again. So I don't know, they can watch Arnie movies or something. I don't know. But, I'm saying my boy played it pretty darn safe with this one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. You probably. I mean,
yeah.
Just
I know it's dark territory. It's very dark territory.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Is why I found it such a hard watch, man. Because this hit really hard.
Yeah, and it's also it's also that bit as well. Like when they're in the car, and his Agnes is like cuddling into her mum, and she's like, don't worry, nothing bad's gonna happen to you. Not when you got your mum around. And they're like, let go, get off me, let go. No, and they're like, you will let go, you will let go.
I'm going to get this off the screen because it upsets me too much. We'll go to this.
All I say is, in general, that it's bad enough just in general. But yeah, if that's what, I mean, if that's what he was trying, if that's what the producer or director or whoever the writer was talking about, then they're absolutely free to talk about that stuff, I think. And it is a very real thing that's happening. Again, I think, me personally, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I saw what they were trying to do with that very first bit with Murgoot when they brought him in. It's like, okay, they're trying to make it as uncomfortable for these two as possible, and really testing those middle class sensibilities to the limit. I can see what they're doing, but yeah, I personally, I think I'm more. I think I am sort of more on the. This is a film about the stripping away of masculinity. Ultimately, because I think this is more Bjorn's story than it is Patrick's or Karen's or anyone else. I think the main focal point in this film, specifically this version, is Bjorn and how he reacts to situations and how he and the behaviors that he exhibits. I think when we, because I haven't seen the 2024 but I do, remake, but I do know, again, they don't really change their Bjorn in that one much, but yeah, they make like almost like girl bosses out of the wife and the kid, and they also add this extra layer where his wife's had an affair and they're trying to get the marriage back on track, but it's all gone
I didn't
belly
know
up.
I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen it either. I've watched the Drinker's review, and I read to just check what did they do with Majid. And when I saw they absolutely bottled it on that, I was like, right.
Yeah.
But, the masculinity is absolutely in there. Like the general theme. You remember, this is a while back. We were talking about how they talked about technology brought in and you lose the ability. Well, I think they were talking about more than just technology. It was just like generally
stability
in society,
as well.
More things are going for you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, something that comes to my mind a fair bit is, I might get memed on for this. All right, imagine you're trying to get in your house and there's just some dude standing blocking the door.
Yeah.
Like you can't legally physically move him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right? You legally can't physically move him. You have to call the police to come and move him. If you move him, it's assault. It's disproportionate. If he sort of says horrible things to you, you can't lamp him. Now, a court will probably decide that there was provocation, and they'd probably reduce it. But there's a very good chance that you would get a fine.
We go to prison in this country for Facebook memes. Proper horror show. So I think our US viewers won't be surprised to learn that, in terms of how, in terms of what we can and can't do, we are very limited. And
someone could literally be smashing.
But then again,
you can't stop them. You cannot physically stop them. You would
assaulting them. And as much as the Americans do, and rightfully so, as much as the Americans do laugh about about how cucked this country is, to a degree, it happens in the US as well. I mean, you look at the recent Daniel Penny trial, you look at the Rittenhouse trial from a couple of years ago. These things do happen. Like, where for Kyle Rittenhouse, what was his crime? Defending himself. And I don't care if anybody agrees with that. Court of law, the evidence was overwhelming, right? It is what it is. Whatever.
Shouldn't have even gone to court.
I don't, do I think, as a parent, would I have wanted my 17-year-old roaming the streets? No. And I think they're stupid for letting their kid do that. But ultimately, his actions that night, justified. The Daniel Penny trial, that was a guy who, as you're saying, it was from my knowledge, was reacting to a situation where there was a genuine threat.
Yeah.
But he still went through the whole court system. And to be fair, where he got exonerated or acquitted, over here you probably do time.
Probably would do time, yeah. And it was, as we saw, a very selective prosecution against him. They didn't go for the Latino guy who was helping him.
True.
In fact, they gave that guy immunity to
testify.
To testify, yeah.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. So, this is undoubtedly, the emasculation, the use of the liberal state, where you get more and more rights, but those rights, in order to be protected, have to be guaranteed. You need an even bigger state to ensure that, which means you don't have the autonomy. So when they were talking about technology, people can't read a map, people can't defend themselves. This is what they're talking. It's not just technology. It's modernity. It's liberalism. It's the huge state project. And I think very much that Patrick and Karen represent that in a way. I've got a massive reach if you like one.
Go for it.
All right. This is.
Or should I say no? Don't do it, because that's saying yes is what Bjorn would say.
Okay, good. You're showing some spine. You're showing some spine. So in the Roadhouse, right?
The Stampot.
You want the Stampot? This is also Stampot. It's all Stampot. All right. Okay. This is what you come to the channel for, folks, right? This is a weird thing, right? You see a weird bit of dialogue. You hear the word Stampot about 400 times in the scene, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed this guy's got saw lighting in the back. What's that about?
Oh, very much. Yeah.
Your boy's saw lighting. Oh, dear.
I want to play a game.
Okay, so you're hearing the word Stampot like 100 times. You're like, what is it? And they have to explain Stampot. And the way they describe it, if you asked me what Stampot after the explanation, I'd say, oh, it's a stew.
Yeah.
It's a stew. Yeah, let's just mix the things. That's not how he described Stampot.
No.
The way he described it is it's a mix of whole different things, the veggies, the meat, all smushed together, right? And also, Stampot is the only thing you can have. The way he's describing it is like the way he's describing multiculturalism, right?
Okay.
It's everything, all the different elements from all over, smushed together, stamped together, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay. And then he says, actually, that's the only thing you can have. Everything is Stampot. There's nothing else. I was like,
I will say on Wikipedia, the source, the most reliable website, it does describe Stampot as a traditional Dutch dish made from a combination of potatoes mashed with one or several vegetables and typically garnished in sausages. So Patrick's description technically is accurate.
It could be accurate. I just think the choice to make it sound like the smushing of all elements together and you don't have a choice is like, I think I see what you're doing.
Actually, it looks quite nice. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, Dutch food probably is quite tasty.
Yeah, those are quite nice, actually. Rookvurst. A bitterballen. Would you like some bitterballen? What is the bitterballen? It's a Dutch meat-based snack made by making a very thick stew thickened with a roux and beef stock and loaded with meat. Bitterballen.
And of course, the Dutch beer.
They look like little Scotch eggs. Actually, they look like Scotch eggs. Oh.
Nice.
How about some stroopwafel? It's just a round cookie made from 2 layers of sweet baked dough.
Stroopwafel is
stroopwafel.
Yeah, that's it. You buy them on the street. That's just like your waffle with ice cream and sauce.
Yep.
Sorry, I like Amsterdam quite a bit. Wonderful, wonderful art museums. Anyway,
Porfert says, I can't pronounce that. P-O-F-F-E-R-T-J-E-S. Sorry,
there was my little reading. So when we get back to sorry, we'll return from the diversion, because there was another thing that was very important that you pointed out. Because I'm not saying, I do obviously agree with you, this film is hugely about emasculation. But you were pointing out, I don't think we got all the way. If people haven't seen this, it's really important they hear this. In the remake, does the film come to the opinion that actually the man needs to actually step up?
In the remake?
Or does it do something else, DCG?
Girl bosses.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. I am shocked. Shocked, I say. What?
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Critical Drinker says that in the remake, their version of Bjorn is pretty much like hidden during the fight scenes. He's just hidden away.
Oh, no.
Just sends his missus out and his kid to go and do the fighting. He's like even more. He's like. I'd argue he's probably more pathetic than Bjorn. I mean, at least Bjorn, right, towards the very end, at least he, well, I mean, no, it was like handbag slaps, but he hides in a closet.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on.
What a pussy. Oh.
You see, at least in Funny Games, Tim Roth's leg was broken. You know, he couldn't actually do something.
Yeah, he could, like, you know, debilitated. But, like, I mean, Bjorn, even at the, like, it's not much, but he, like, at least tries to, like, do something. I wouldn't even say do. No, he doesn't do anything. He just sort of he sort of tries to reach over and be like, please stop. And then like Patrick just batters him.
By the time that happens, you know, I mean, this is one of the worst bits. Is just like Patrick. Okay, emotionally, this hits harder than it should logically. But like the bit where Patrick can even leave him with the car with the keys.
Oh my god! Yes.
But
I'm just like.
In fairness, Karine is in the back, and you can probably assume she's armed, but it's worth trying.
Counterpoint. That could be something that Louise can handle.
She probably could have, but I think.
Do you know what I mean? Like, she could handle it, but none of them. Like, I mean, Louisa puts up out of the two of them. She does put up the. I'd say the biggest resistance. I mean, ultimately, when it does come to like them, when Muhaji taking. Excuse me, Agnes, she tries, but she's physically overpowered by a bigger, stronger person.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping Bjorn, I don't know, maybe getting out the passenger side door.
Yeah, Bjorn just gives up.
He just, I'm like, okay, you can't do anything about Patrick. Clearly, he's got you there. Why don't you just get out the car and, you know, chokehold this twat trying to take your kid? None of them appear to be armed, apart from you're right. Karen does have the pair of scissors,
but it's like even if they're armed, I mean, this might sound like keyboard warrior. I'm sorry, if they're trying to take your kid, you aren't considering that.
Again, there should be something instinctually in you, animalistically in you, that it doesn't matter who that person is, whether they're bigger than you, stronger than you. You know, it's almost like something just unlocks in you, and you react. And the fact that he does nothing. So what are you afraid of? Like, you're going to die. Like, you're going to die now. Like, that's reality, right? There's nothing you can do that's going to get you out of that situation, right? By appeasing this person, there's nothing that's going to stop them from doing what they're going to do to you. Like, it's apparent. They can't let you go now. You've seen their faces. You know where they live. You're done. Okay? You do something. Go down swinging, man. Go down swinging. But instead, honestly, this film, great. It's a great story. But he just pissed me off so much. He
can't fight back because it's an allegory for what's happening all over Europe, all over America. It's like, if he won't fight back because we won't fight back. And I know that's like tough guy talk, right? That's tough guy on the internet. Like, let's be honest, like, this is just accurately describing our situation. There's lots of stuff happening, and I'm not going to be specific given our current government's actions, but let's just be honest, there is all sorts of things that we are all extremely, extremely unhappy about. And we don't have a means within the system to change that. And there'll be loads of things for loads of people, and there'll be different things for different people. But all of us, I think, have something that we are extremely, extremely unhappy about. And if there were a button we could press, or a person we could, someone who we could vote for who'd actually do something, would do it. But we don't have that in that situation. And we're all getting a bit desperate. And Patrick Batman has come in with a perfect quote at this time.
Absolutely.
Thank you for spending £2.
Thank you.
You see, I was going to say this anyway, but you paid me to do it, so thank you.
It is the most.
Can you read this out in your wonderful voice?
Where he's like sniveling, like dribbling. Why are you doing this? You let me.
Totally.
That's it. Yeah.
That's
it
all
is. Yeah.
They could have walked away at any point. Now, that means a different victim.
Murgoot, never give up your agency and never trust the Dutch.
Thank you, Patrick, very much. Yes. Well, where's that from, man? Where's that from? Oh, where is that? I'm not being too harsh on. I don't like Beyond, but that's because I don't like myself. I don't like how things are at the moment. And Bjorn isn't going to do anything because we aren't going to do anything. And this is not anything breaching the law. This is like, we're all desperate for something to change, but the system is bleak and outcomes are not going to look good. And we all hope that there is a nice legal change within that doesn't violate anyone's rights. But that is looking unlikely. And I will limit my commentary there on that.
I'm sure we will be able to vote our way out of this. But I think I'm going to vote. I'm voting.
There you go.
I think chat.
So
essentially, what Proper Horror Show is saying is that we are in the weak men create bad times stage.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
is essentially what this film is.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. If you could sum it up in one sentence, it's weak man creates bad time.
Yeah, the current adults are not fighting back. They are working within the system, and I put myself in this as well. I'm as guilty as Bjorn here. And it's the kids who pay the price. Like, this is as simple as the kids pay the price. They can't say anything about it. What are they going to do? Literally, speak no evil, right? They can't do anything. The title is also a challenge. It's a challenge to you. Are you going to say the thing you're not meant to say? That is probably in breach of Section 127 of the Communications Act. You're lucky, Americans. You're lucky. Are you going to do that? The fact that they, in the Danish original, are stoned to death is very telling.
And it's quite brutal, that as well. Like the is it they must have used CGI surely for the the bruising and stuff.
I would have. How did you interpret the stoning? Do you did that have a meaning for you? I'm torn over it.
It looked. I mean, it looked like for me. It just felt like just some sort of humiliation. Because bearing in mind, after the whole "Why are you doing this? You let me" line, which, by the way, best line of the film, best two lines of the film. He orders that they're ordered to strip down naked, so they're completely naked at the point, but at the point where they're getting stoned. I just almost saw it as like the ultimate disrespect.
I think at that point, they'd lost their daughter, so TBH, it is game over. Like, that's why they didn't. Why would they even pretend to fight back at that point?
But again, I don't agree. I don't agree. Again, this is me. Like, okay, in that scenario, yeah, sure, their kid, obviously the kid was taken, right? But Bjorn should have known, based on what he saw, that this appears to be the modus operandi of these people: take the kid, then use them, then use that child, or. Because he's seen the pictures, he knows that the children aren't killed.
Yeah,
they're kept on. Well, not immediately, I should say. They're kept for a period of time afterwards. So he should know at that point. Okay, we haven't. Agnes isn't with us now, but she's still going to be out there. Why is he not doing anything? They're not. They haven't got guns on them, right? Why are they running?
This film works so well when you and I are genuinely getting annoyed about it right now. I'm angry now at Bjorn.
Yeah, even now, it's like, dude,
he could have taken Karen at least. He could have jumped her and got,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
YouTube.
But I think, again, like but again, like visually at the beginning of the film, it's made very apparent that Bjorn is kind of like a weak man, because you see him on the sunbed, don't you? And he's clearly out of shape. He's not exactly. He doesn't have Patrick's physique, because again, I think you see Patrick, don't you? And he's like tops off, and he's obviously like he works out, built, and all stuff.
I don't want to be crude either, but and this is an insult to the actor. I want to hugely praise the actor. He strips naked, and the the cold will not be helping him, but
No.
I think how can I say, his full naked body did not give an impression of great virility and masculinity.
Yeah.
And I think that's deliberate. Like,
Yeah.
bro, could you be as small and shriveled as possible? Because it really fits the
I could be smaller.
shrinking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are screaming at him to fight back, but that's the point of the film.
Yeah, and
Now,
it executes it brilliantly. It really does. Like,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I can sit here and say like, oh man, Bjorn, I hate Bjorn, I hate Bjorn. But that's exactly what the film wants you to do, and it does it brilliantly.
And that's why it works. Like on the stoning, the only read I had, why is it stoning in this wonderful canyon with the great big Kubrick obelisk, the obelisk which tells you you're going to get a lesson. Why is it stoning? My only guess, and I would love to read more interpretations, but I think back to the biblical story of the woman being stoned, and Jesus steps in front of the crowd, whispers their sins to them, and they leave, and it's basically don't throw the first stone, basically. But in this case, it's that call of, could you do it? You see, even when I say that, I can't piece together the meaning. And it's like, we couldn't throw the stones at them. Patrick and Karen shouldn't throw the stones at them because they are most definitely not sin-free. But it's trying to put that idea in our head, I think. I mean, you could say there's cruder meanings, like it's an Islamification meaning. I genuinely don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Otherwise,
if people are reaching for that, I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just humiliation at that point. You know, how can we make you? I mean, you have made yourself as pathetic as possible throughout the entire experience with us, Bjorn and Louisa. What more could we do to make you feel more pathetic and worthless and disgusting? And I know, we'll just strip you down and just lob big rocks at you from a distance.
Yeah, why not? Casual, and they're so practiced with it that the piles of stones nearby just told you. Now I do wonder, where are those bodies? Presumably they're just buried nearby, but the piles of stones all around them are this dark indicator of like, yeah, this has happened many a time. Oh man, the fact that we're getting annoyed about it is just like, it shows how successful this is.
The
film ends on some really horrible stuff, just like the sight of Agnes, the cycle repeating, Agnes now just broken down. It follows up, I can't show it, but it's a very deliberate choice of, you know, the next holiday. Agnes is there now doing the Abel role, but there's a sight of a young girl. You can tell it's a European film because we wouldn't do that in the
we wouldn't.
We're a bit weird, unusual about it, atypical for Europe. So
I think we're correct about it. No. Proper horror show. The appropriate term is we are correct about it. Okay.
I certainly wouldn't have missed it if it weren't there. But basically, you see a topless, I guess, 9-year-old just in a swimming cozy playing around.
Yeah.
And the idea is to really connect her with just like innocence. Like, that's how innocent she is, and that's a threat because, you know, she could be the next Agnes. And I'm not going to say this is a problem. It's not too obvious. It's quite nicely done. It calls back to when your boy.
Sorry, I should just clarify. When I said we're correct, I mean that we see things like that and we think that's weird. We wouldn't do that. This is how we would do it.
We don't need it on a film, basically.
No, definitely not. No. I was a bit like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But just to make sure you got the message, you know,
it's very much. Yeah, look at these innocent. Yeah, look at these innocent children. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, the cherub. That's it. Yeah.
The cherub being despoiled.
Yeah. It's not.
It's very poignant, and I think this. I can't be certain. I went a bit autistic. I went back and checked, and I don't think this is actually the ceiling he was looking at. So, but I think the idea is to replicate that the feeling of Bjorn unable to sleep, looking up, and this is what he sees.
Oh,
And
God,
funnily enough,
yeah.
after watching this, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for like an extra hour and a half. I was stressed from this film because it worked emotionally in a way that, I mean, literally, I can name them on like one hand the number of films that have messed me up this much. You know, there's although I'm now forgetting them. Funny Games, Possum, this, Cannibal Holocaust, and that's all that's coming to me for now. I'm sure there's another
One
one.
hand. It's one hand.
That fits. Yeah, that fits.
Yep.
Yeah. So, whereas, and I think part of the reason it is so darn successful, is because it doesn't satisfy you. The deep, deep subversion of the American is you watch it, you get worked up, even with the diluted message that it's got, that it's showing you. Even with the diluted message, it then gives you a happy ending. So, okay, you might have been worked up, but don't worry, you got a happy ending.
Yeah. Everything's fine. Don't worry, the good guys win. It's like, yeah, they do. Of course they do.
It's all cool, guys. Go back. Go back and watch the Weakest Link Gladiators special.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's good fun.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't mind. I don't mind if the 2024 Speak No Evil was a standalone film. Probably wouldn't have a problem. But the fact that it's an adaptation of this film, and it's, you know, this film is clearly trying to tell us. All films do, but it's trying to tell a very specific story. And this remake, again, I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard and from what I have seen, it just misses the point to the point where I almost feel like it's almost disrespectful.
Oh, it's almost the inversion of the point, isn't it? This is about you are being emasculated and robbed of your independence by a decadent society.
Yeah, and it's fine.
No, you need a girl boss.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine that you're being emasculated. It's fine that you can't stand up for yourself because other people will do it for you.
Oh, exactly. You can trust the system, right?
Yeah. Trust the system. Yeah,
trust the system. There'll be an inquiry, bros. We'll do an inquiry. And did you not like the inquiry? Did you not like the last mega report we wrote? We'll do an inquiry into that. Don't worry. Nothing will ever happen. I've had a request to play something. People are wondering where the quotation is about the Dutch. I'm probably going to get copyright stuck for this, but let's give it a go and lighten the mood.
Oh, God.
All right, code member. Boy, there are only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch.
I need to watch the Austin Powers films again. I've got them on DVD somewhere. Yeah, Patrick, the remake. I think Drinker said himself, if it wasn't for the last 20 minutes of the film, his video would have been a Drinker recommends video. And to be fair, James McAvoy is, I rate him. I think he's great.
Totally.
Jesus Christ, he bulked up for that film, didn't he?
He's a big lad.
Geezer went full lumberjack mode.
What's his name? Batman.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Yeah, he did the Christian Bale bulk up.
Yeah, big time.
You make a really good point, actually. Sorry, it was really good. About it would be very different if it weren't a remake, if it were an original one.
Yeah.
It hurts because we didn't say as much, but the director of the remake is James Watkins, who is a good lad. He wrote did a really good episode of Black Mirror, the one you like, give me money. Eden Lake, I absolutely loved. I have called Eden Lake out for diluting the message a little bit, but not much. And one of his I think his debut is called My Little Lie, which I've wanted to cover for ages. It's really, really good. James Watkins doesn't get enough work. He is very, very talented. And
I didn't know he did Eden Lake, to be fair.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he doesn't get the recognition, but he's a really talented guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
But
rate that film.
it hurts me that he was brought in to basically do a diluted Americanized version.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you feel like there was external pressure to get that message out?
100%. I like
Yeah.
he's he's a really good director, really good, but he doesn't have the clout. He's not Kubrick. He can't do
Yeah.
his own thing. Blumhouse will have said, "Come on board, but you need to make these changes." And the fact that we have a remake is instructive in what the changes are. Whether it's simple stuff that makes a plot weaker, like in the remake, how do Patrick and Karen afford to keep going even though they don't have a job? Well, before they murder, they do a bank transfer. Now you obviously instantly start thinking there's a few problems with that, like that's going to get tracked, or aren't the bank gonna, when these people go missing, aren't they going to check the bank? Now, that's not a problem in the Danish one. I wondered about this. Like, you see, okay, maybe you see a collection of valuables from the people hoarded in the shed. Let's go to the shed quickly. Where's my shed? Where's my shed of shame? Here we go. You see the valuables.
To them, it's less of a shed of shame, and it's just a trophy room, really, isn't it?
True. Much better phrase, actually. So there's a few valuables they're probably flogging, but I'm going to say the really, really dark thing. I suspect Muhajid is probably giving them a bit of cash. Now, there is a very good dark explanation that fits with lots of real-world events. Look up the White March in Belgium, if you want an idea. That is how they could get their money without the system noticing or giving them any trouble. A really dark explanation. It's not dwelled on because it's not hugely important, but it does explain how they keep going without having a job. They've got funding. It's stuff like that. All these little details changed, but you get an idea of where producers have come in. And it is the whole US remake bodging a European horror. I mean, in fairness, this is a fine tradition. When this was recommended to me, Theremin Trees, I think very rightly, I think Theremin Trees mentioned The Vanishing, which is one of the famous cases. The Vanishing is it's kind of like this. It's a very grim, dark, bleak Belgian horror with, spoilers, no happy ending.
Oh, God.
And I know it's a Euro horror thing, man. And the US one, it's people, as Mark Commode summed it up, people run around smacking each other with spades until the bad guy dies. Like, oh, great. Why don't you slap a blooming hockey mask on the killer while you're at it,
Yeah.
So I guess this is a long way of saying kudos to Michelle Haneke for doing an American remake of Funny Games and making it almost shot for shot, word for word. And then
I think of Vince Vaughn and Psycho when they did that.
Yeah. Oh, Vince Vaughn, what were you doing, man?
I don't mind.
What were you doing?
I don't mind when they make like little tweaks and things like that to films. That they're remaking. I mean, I think like Wreck and Quarantine are a couple that stick out. And I was thinking about it the other day.
Great. We love The Ring.
Yeah. The Grudge.
Love The Grudge.
Yeah. Well, the Sarah Michelle Gellar Grudges. Grudge.
Yeah.
That one. Not so much the latest one. That went a bit doolally. But
I don't know about that one. I know the Sarah Michelle Gellar one. That was a good time.
Yeah, I saw the remake Grudge during lockdown. They had like one of those like drive-through cinemas, whatever they call them. Because I thought I was taking the missus to go and see the Sarah Michelle Gellar Grudge. The film starts, and I'm like, I didn't even know that they'd done it, that they remade it again. So I'm sitting there watching this film, like, I remember this.
Where's my Buffy?
Yeah, where's Buffy? Where's Buffy? Where's Ted? Where's Ted Raimi?
Daphne's rocking up any minute, I assure you. Hang on.
Or was it Tim Raimi I said in your quiz? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Raimi. Oh, it was Tim. Where's Tim? Yeah. But that was nowhere near as good. But then there's other ones like, do you remember when we covered #Alive, that zombie Korean zombie film? Yeah,
that was a great recommendation from you.
Yeah, there was an American. They did a remake in America of that one as well.
They didn't.
They did.
Really?
They did. Yeah. I'll have to find the name of it. It was on. I think it's on Prime. But one of the major differences they made in that film was that they turned the guy from like an introvert, shall we say, like 24/7 on his game streaming, yada yada yada, to an extrovert. Like he was an outgoing guy. The opening scene is. The opening scene, he's in bed with another woman. She gets up, gets dressed, and leaves, and it all sort of kicks off. It's an American sort of spin to that one. It's got Donald Sutherland in it.
Oh,
yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, it's got him in it. I'll have to find it. But but even that one sort of holds up, and that's. Because the reason why is the core message of the film remains the same. Of those films sort of remain the same. Whereas, with this one, I probably went on a tangent there, but ultimately, Speak No Evil 2022 and Speak No Evil 2024, they effectively they're telling a different message. Yeah. Bjorn is the focal point of this film, this specific film, whereas. He might have been at the beginning of the 2024 one, but by the end of it, it sounds like he doesn't really have a role to play in it. He's pathetic through and through. Yeah, we know. We'll pick up the pieces as daughter and wife. We'll sort out the big bad monster. We'll sort out the big bad meanie for you.
Stay in the closet.
Yeah, stay in the closet with Tom Cruise.
That, and because in that one, it's not Majid, it's Chris from the bar.
Right.
Comes in. She even takes out an extra person. She's oh God. Yeah. I think. See this. It's very instructive to have the remake because it just gives you a little idea. Gives you a little idea about what goes on in production offices. Just gives you a little insight. Anyway, I think we've kind of covered it. Thank you very much to the NREAB sending in £10. Thank you very much. Great analysis on this film, PH. You should make a video about this. If you can be subtle enough and phrase it in a way to avoid getting arrested, yes. Well, I like to think I've spread hate to no one or encouraged any violent action, nor would I do so. But I find it very interesting that major channels... I mean, look, I could just be wrong. But I don't believe it's incidental, and the change to Majid in the remake tells me very strongly it's not incidental. It's very telling to me that YouTube review, big YouTubers, stayed quiet on it. I looked for Ryan Hollinger, who's got about 700k, and I think is generally a rather good horror reviewer. Gets good 20-minute videos, just hasn't covered it. In the other reviews, everyone missed it and kept it to the real safe ground of, it's about middle-class manners. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, in the sense of, War and Peace is about Russians, you're kind of missing the point, or just sticking it to purely masculinity and like TCG. You can totally disagree with me. That's fine. That's what I like about this channel. I even, and this is something I haven't shown you guys yet. This is something I got up for us. We even saw this, and I'm gonna have to drop your generous super chat there, the NREAB.
Oh God!
We even got this Screen Rant article. Yeah, the original Speak No Evil wrapped up the babysitter story. Screen Rant, hi Screen Rant. What are you doing, guys? I like Screen Rant. What a cool channel. Hang on, they're pointing about Majid disappears and it's a plot hole. Interesting. 2022 Speak No Evil employs a regrettable stereotype when the movie's sole character of color is revealed to be a villain. Well, a bit more specific than that, when that character from that background is revealed to be doing things that is kind of a major scandal about people from the background doing. So kind of acting consistent with the reality. And that's just a bit too much for America. So Behaving in accordance with reality is a regrettable stereotype. Guys, don't do any regrettable stereotypes. Yeah, Screen Rant. Folks, it's been a long stream. You've probably been drinking. You might have spilled something on your keyboard. Do you want to just check if your S key works here? You might want to check the S. S for Screen Rant, of course. Let's just see. Oh,
yeah, mine's working fine.
That's working. Yeah, I think yeah, my S for Screen Rant makes quality content. That's working. Patrick Batman also has an S for I respect Screen Rant. Wonderful. It's good. We all have functioning keyboards. I'm so
excellent.
glad. I'm so glad. All right, silliness aside, folks. Silliness aside, things like that. The sort of media defense makes me think I'm on the money now. I would love to make a video about it. I would love to make a lot of videos. But Little Horror Show keeps me very busy. I might try, if you will forgive me, a sort of more relaxed AA style scroll through a PowerPoint and collecting the evidence. I might manage that. Actually, I might have some time next weekend. I'll see what I do, because there's a few extra things I'd love to do. I'd like to look at some things deeper. There's a few more things about the way Patrick and Karen basically act like the state. Like when they're criticized, they immediately go for an economic reason. Oh, we're just poor. We don't have the beds. That's why. Yeah. There's things like that that I'd love to go into in some more detail and pick out a few more things. But because I'm sure but the other hand is, if I do that, I have to watch this again, and this film messed me up.
Yeah, I just want to make a very quick correction, I guess. Alone, by the way, is the name of that film that I was talking about.
The #live remake. Good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Both films were released in 2020. #live came out on the 24th of June, and Alone came out in October 16th, the 16th of October. They're both based off of the same script, which was written by Matt Naylor, who actually is credited on the Alone box. Is credited as one of the writers, obviously, for this one, because he's a Hollywood screenwriter, funny enough. So yeah, I don't know whether or not they're actually ones. Well, clearly they're not in like ones written by another. But personally, if you ask me, the one that came out first is the superior one. And that was a lie.
It's odd how often that happens. I quite like it when you notice Hollywood get into like bidding cycles over a trend. Like you probably notice how many ads at the moment have a goat in them.
Yeah,
it's like the ad agencies picked up on, oh, goat, yeah, greatest of all time, and now they're like, oh, guys, when they pitch to a company, right? Let me explain goat to you. We'll put goat in your ad, and there's like this lag, but then all the adverts come out. Or in 2019, you suddenly got 2 films called Escape Room.
Oh, really?
Because escape rooms had blown up. So it's suddenly, right, guys. It's like the pitch meeting happens. It's like, so you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do. And it's going to be escape rooms. And you just knew that happened, and everyone was racing to get their escape room. And I know this because I picked the wrong one. I thought I was going to get I wanted the Blumhouse one, but I got one that came out slightly before and was more budget.
You want to go further back? What about Deep Impact and Armageddon?
Oh, so true.
Yeah,
so true. Many such cases. Yeah, you get a trend and then Hollywood rushes.
Yeah. And what was that? What was the one that not Pierce Brosnan? No, it was Pierce.
Volcano and Dante.
Volcano. That's it. Yes.
I watched Dante's Peak in the cinema. I am old. All right. We've been. There's a lot to say about this film, man. I might do a follow up.
I think you should.
Face watching more. It probably helps to condense it, to be honest, and like show the actual scenes. And I also think I would like to. I now feel, having done the stream, I can watch the full Decameron stream, because I just didn't want to steal the dude's ideas.
Yeah. So send me a link of that at the end, or even link it if
sure.
you haven't already, so that chat can go and watch it afterwards. But yeah, I will probably watch the 2024 one. not just for the reason that it actually has a good not a good ending, but a happy ending. I can stomach that. But I do want to see like what some of the more critical differences are of it. Or how much the differences that we've discussed impact the story, because at the moment, as I say, you said you haven't watched it, right?
No,
I feel like we're just getting that information secondhand at the moment, and it's
that's fair enough. Yeah, I just cracked a few key details down that I wanted to check on.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I don't think what we've said will differ too much from what we actually experience, but yeah, it'd be nice to actually sort of have a look at it and then sort of go, yeah, okay, critical drinker, you had a point with this point, that point, or maybe you're a bit retarded there.
It is always good to do that because it's always worth checking and making your own opinion. Oh, here we go. What do you think of Sam Hyde's Dear Elon video? £2. Thank you, Patrick Batman. TCG, did you watch this?
Haven't watched it. Although I did get a notification the other day. Has he released it in Japanese as well?
Samurai Hide.
Samurai Hide. Elon-san.
Oh dear. No, I'm not. We're not going to speak any Japanese. We're not doing it. We're not doing. Right. We could. Iron-san, ore wo kitte yo, etc. But I watched it. I was impressed. It had all the nice schizo sprinkles throughout.
Oh no!
It kept it entertaining.
He did it in Hindu. In Hindi.
I saw it a week ago. I thought
I'll watch that one.
I was impressed from what I remember. I think it was well done, and I think my main memory of it, so I've only watched it once, was I was very impressed by the argument of sort of dismissing the treat your country like a sports team. It's like that's kind of like treating your family like a company, like you just say to your sister, "I'm sorry, love. We've got this candidate from abroad who's really good, or we've got this candidate down from the street who's really just got a lot of pep. You know, she's got that get up and go. So we're swapping you out." It's like, I just think you can't do that. And I think that message was conveyed very well by Sam Hyde. I'd happily watch it again and get more, but overall, I was impressed by it. I'm sorry I don't have more specific takes than that, but I liked it. Yeah. Sorry. If you'd have asked me a week ago, I'd have probably been a bit fresher on the memory.
I know. Was it more of like a serious video of his?
It was very serious for Sam Hyde.
Yeah.
So it still has these wonderful schizo tangents in it.
Okay.
But I was impressed by his maturity in deciding at the time when Elon was trying to throw things off by being the wacky Joker guy, the decision to play things much straighter and serious and mature than I've ever seen Sam Hyde do was a good decision. So yeah. I think we should probably be wrapping up about now.
Okay.
I've loved this discussion. I want to do a little mood lightener because we've gotten into some pretty heavy topics. I came across something in the archive, the unreleased proper horror show archives, because I'm very aware that I need to do a new intro.
Oh, right.
And I found an old intro I tried to make that didn't work.
Okay.
I thought you might like it. You'll be able to tell how old this is. But
are you going to play it?
Yeah, I'll play it for you.
Yes.
It's a bit of a mood lightener after such a heavy topic. So this is an exclusive. You 20 people still around at the end. Absolute chads.
You crazy bastards. We love you.
Chat. Start getting your scores in because we'll wrap up and do our closing scores and thoughts after this. But I'm just going to play this out as a treat for you.
Is that Gatsby?
Yeah.
Nice.
He blocked the shot.
Go on, have a sip.
true OGs remember. Glorious Gatsby. We spent about an hour and a half trying to do this. That was the best version we got. Alright, I'll get that back on. True OGs remember.
Brilliant.
The Great Gatsby. Alright, well, TCG, after all this, I feel I should have asked you sooner, but could you give me your closing thoughts and score for Speak No Evil?
Yeah, really good. Really, really good film. If you want to get an emotional response out of from a movie, yeah, this is the one. That being said, I would say for me it's a one and done film. It does sort of add to the list of the ones that get to you. But for me, I was absolutely surprised it wasn't because of the the Agnes aspect of it. It was Bjorn, just the man being so emasculated and just defeatist was just genuinely sickening to watch. I know there are some cowardly people out there, but I feel like even in the most extreme circumstances, just an ounce of spine and a little bit of an ounce of spine, genuinely hated him by the end of it. There was so many opportunities for him to really save his family, really, and he just didn't take those opportunities. But yeah, I would probably rate it. It's going to be high. It's 10, easily 10. 10 out of 12 burgers. We're going with some ketchup. We're actually going to put some really hot peppers in them though, with a sharp taste on the tongue. They'll just make that straight gone. Not that many pickles, and we're going to put cheese in, even though Bjorn didn't want cheese in his burger, but he was too scared to say no. And then we're going to feed that burger to Louise, the pescatarian slash vegetarian, because again, she ain't saying no either.
True. Nice. I can respect that. I mean, first there was a yes.
Holland has the best cheese. yeah. There's no cheese better than the Dutch cheese.
I'll say this quickly. I'll read this out because Theremin Trees, who originally recommended this, great recommendation. Even if, why couldn't it have been something light?
Yeah, I know.
Sending £15, very generous. Thank you. 11 out of 12 on the score. Searing social commentary, absolutely true.
Big time.
Standout modern psychological horror. Cheers for giving it a go and letting yourself be brutalized. Yes. Thank you very much for the recommendation and the generous super chat. Theremin Trees, very much appreciated. I mean,
Enria, but look,
it's a horror channel, I should get messed up and given nightmares once in a while. And this did it.
Do you know what? That's so true, right? Because I mean, when you've watched so much of something, or when you do so much of something, you kind of do get a bit desensitized to it. So it is quite refreshing to have something that just sort of takes you back to a time where this sort of genre really did sort of make you go, ooh, sleepless night, or or just sit on you, just make you think. Just sort of linger in the mind for a little while. So that was definitely one of those films I've been thinking about. I mean, I'll full disclosure, watched it earlier today, so it's still quite fresh in my mind, but I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's and I love this. Yeah, I hated it because Bjorn was so weak and pathetic. But after your analysis, I understand why I hated it so much. I hate it because it's true. Yes,
absolutely. We are all Bjorn.
Yeah, I hated this film at the end. I hated it, but I hated it because for those exact reasons. I was like, why do I not feel the same kind of hate that I would say for what was it, that Ghosts on a Plane film thing, that stupid.
What, Shadow in the Clouds?
Shadow in the Clouds, that's it. It's like I like the film, but I hate it. Why do Bjorn? It's Bjorn. I hate him.
Yeah, it's
Great actor. What a performance, though. What a performance.
outstanding
Wow.
performance from everyone.
Yeah.
Total throwing themselves into the role.
Mhm.
Just
Well, you say throwing themselves with Patrick and Karen. It was probably less method acting and more like real life relationship stuff. They're actually married in real life to each other, so you know.
Oh,
So real on screen chemistry there.
yeah, it was great.
I wish I'd never been Bjorn. So does Bjorn, funny enough.
Thank you, Patrick Batman. Yeah, a great stuff. And you know, also, I mean, you know what? I'll try and get this in the follow-up video because there's also some interesting stuff about the language and what's translated, what's not translated is also true. There's stuff in that, but we're wrapping up. I'll try and cover it in a video. The Enriab, you've nailed it with that comment.
Yeah,
absolutely nailed it. I'm going to leave that up because this informs my analysis a lot. And John Graham, I agree as well. I've got to go 11.
Ooh.
And I think I'm going 11. I'm a bit hesitant because I've gone out of my way to find some quite, for me, significant flaws in the movie. You know, like Abel doesn't really hold up, and he's not one who should be helpless. The traveling with passports is an issue depending on how you interpret their role. If it's more of a Belgian White March sort of thing, it's not a problem. If it's not, then it is a problem, etc., etc. But otherwise, the film is so darn impactful and horrifying for me, and relevant and daring and brave, and really taking a risk so much that the remake censored it. That for me, those flaws do not detract. So only the lack of the great Tony Todd himself is keeping it from a 12 out of 12 for me. This is an 11 out of 12 Burgers film. Unexpected pickles in some of the intimacy scenes. Less ketchup than I expected, but a very, very spicy chili preserve slathered in every layer of this, and lots of onions in it. And I think you can slice it and really see the layers in all those onions. Well, that is it. That's the closing thoughts and scores. So at this point, I will give you your horror homework for next week. It's a lighter one. It's a much lighter one. We're going to look at... You're on the game, Murgoot. Sorry, you're on the ball. I don't think you're on the game. But
yeah.
It's been a long stream. The homework...
proper Horrorshow. I told you not to tell the chat why Murgoot couldn't be here tonight.
Oh, what a callback. The homework. It's a lighter one, guys. I wouldn't say it's the easiest watch, but it's much lighter than this. We're going to watch a very modern film. We're going to watch Heretic from 2024, starring your boy, Hugh Grant.
Oh, nice.
It's not perfect, but I rather enjoyed it. I will be giving it a good old bullying. I will be jabbing it in the ribs. I'll hold it down for a swirly when it does something silly. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun. So we'll be watching Heretic from 2024. And I believe we're also scheduled to, as a topic, talk about Safe Edgy. We'd promised a while ago, so we'll bring in the old Safe Edgy. It's a fun topic. All right, lovely stuff. TCG, thank you so much, man. It was a tough film, but I think this was a really good convo.
It's a pleasure as always. Thank you for having me on. And thank you, chat. You've been amazing this evening.
Yeah, chat, you've been... No, Safe Edgy, Patrick. Safe Edgy. What channel do you think we are? We're family friendly. Before take a sounding reference or two. Now...
chat, no.
Great. You've been generous. You've been funny. The Bjorn puns have been wonderful. And highlight lightening what has been an extremely dark stream with a couple of things dropped in that you can Google. So with that said, you have had your review of Speak No Evil 2022. You have had your condemnation of Hollywood's slimy subversive tactics, and you've got your homework for next week, which is Heretic from 2024. And with that, I will leave it there. I hope you have a lovely Friday tomorrow and a fantastic weekend after that. Check out Decameron Film Festival's coverage of it. You'll find it on Odyssey. And I'm going to leave it there. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, TCG. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Hashtag Shield Gang.
Hashtag Drill Gang.
Screw you, Bjorn.